so yeah, I think bringing awareness and consciousness to the feminine part of the birthing the temple is a beautiful thing, and it has relevance regardless of where it's coming from, really, because it's coming from the lightning pole. It still needs the matter. It's like the matter's vibrating, the lightning can come more in a more easeful way. And so I feel like part of it is attention, and I feel like I've been like just reading some of your posts, Taki'h, and on this subject, and see what you've come to in yourself, recognizing that some parts of attending to your matter have slipped away. And I feel like that would be one of the very first things to speak about, really, is that the nourishment of matter, the matter of the physical body, is so important. And to make sure, and that's been a piece I think that I've kind of learned through the years. And I mean, Retta is a different kind of a temple, but it's been an ecstatic birth for me, and an ecstatic creation in a lot of ease, and yeah, just relevant, the next revelation and simplicity. And but that's also come on the back of years of creating in different ways as well. So there's been a journey to that, I think. So I think it's a good question to be tuning into ecstatic birth, actually, and what does support that. And I think the technology is there. It's looking at what exists in the birthing through a woman's body, what the practices that support that, with a physical birth of the baby that can then be accessed shamanically with the birthings that are coming, being conceived. And I just think it's interesting with you, Taki'h, with you and Timo. I didn't know that you've been trying to conceive a physical baby, and it's like, I think this can be another thing too, when the impulse to conceive is there, and then sometimes it's not even really known that maybe it's not a physical baby, like, but something's wanting to come through that portal. And I feel like when there's potency in relating, usually something is wanting to birth through that portal. So it's sounding like, you know, for you it's been the temple, like that's been what's been coming maybe all along. And beautiful that awareness is there, and that has what has been what's come through. Yeah,
I love what you said about the transition. And I you know, I didn't know that. I don't have this experience. That, you know, when a woman's giving birth and then she says, I can't, and that's like, okay, that now it's happening. And just to reflect on this journey with, you know, it was, Timo had that at the very beginning of like, and then once that was done, it was like smooth sailing for him. And for me, it was just at the very end, like I was sharing, it was just, you know, that week, within a week, we had signed from when I said, I can't, I just dropped to my knees. I was like, I give up. This is too hard. I'm going against the, you know, trying to swim upriver. Like, obviously this is not meant to be. Stop struggling, stop trying, like, forget it. Like, you know, I'm seeing the signs. And so I don't know how, you know, how to support others, or if there is any advice or anything, I don't know, from personal experience or otherwise, of how the signs are either a struggle, like can be interpreted as, okay, you're going against the grain, you're swimming upriver, you're struggling, versus this is a test. Are you all in? Can you push more, you know, or, you know, last push to get it out, kind of thing, which is what it felt like to me. And also just hearing about the ecstatic birth, and I know I've seen pictures of the land there, the red earth, and clearly it's been created, you know, from that kind of, and a lot of weaving and a lot of time and a lot of listening and a lot of, you know, what needs to emerge here or there or so forth. And feeling like this birth has been more of like, almost like a breech baby or something, you know, like and kind of this longing of like, oh, I wish it had been more of an ecstatic birth, and we have this time, space to, do it this way, and somehow, like, I know that can happen even with no time and space. I know that can happen, of course it can. Just the feeling that it can't, or the feeling, not the truth, but the sense of like, it's here, it's coming, it's out, like there's this, kind of this intensity of it. That many parents say they end up, it's like nobody could have warned you about this, but yet everybody did, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a few things that are arising for me. One is I'm just feeling into the actual, you're talking about the transition, I'm just feeling into the birthing process, and one of, as you know from doing the womb journey, one of the things that we're exploring is how to kind of move to a portal, find the frequency to vibrate so that opens, and then move through that portal through to access the cosmic womb to then bring something back. So it's like the birthing process is coming back the other way. So it's a part of it is, I guess, coming to those portals and thresholds to learn how to, I guess, vibrate at those so they dilate with more ease than which is like the same as a birthing process. Like it's like it can be fighting against it, and not having the tools to be with it, or it can be like working with the vibration and breathing and using all the tools that we know, but sound and movement to meet that next portal to be able to support it to open. And then I think there's something that you're talking about too, about after the birth. Like I know one of the practices, I'm just so loving watching some of these young mothers birth at the moment that I've been in they've been in my field, and not literally watch them, but just seeing what's happening with these young mothers that have done the work. They've done all the Istas, they've done Haydn, they've done the soul work, they've done whatever, and now I'm watching these young ones being born in the way that we're kind of recapitulating our own births to try and create what we needed or wanted. And one of the things that they're doing, a lot of them are doing, is after they have the baby, they're taking 40 days. I think it's 40 days, 6 weeks,
fourth
something like
trimester.
that. Is that what you were saying? The fourth trimester? Yeah, it could be the fourth trimester. Yeah, to just be with that baby and not have other things going on, and nourish the body and be supported actually in that time. So I think it's exciting to think about like applying those practices, those ancient midwifery practices, and applying them to the birthing of these temples that of course are coming through a huge womb. Of course they are. That's the birthing process, and then the physical bodies that are holding the point for that.
And Tracy, you were saying how for you it's been this, you've been feeling it in your cervix, and you've been having dreams about being pregnant, and like it's been quite physical for you. For me, I didn't know, like I didn't make the click. 1 + 1 did not equal 2, even though it's so obvious now. But for you, it's been like that during. For me, only afterwards, where I'm like, what happened to me? What's wrong with me? And then it's like Tracy says to me, like, oh, And so I'm having this conversation with the two of you because it was Janine who said, you're going through birthing pains, you're almost there. And then like, okay, like that, like on my knees, like just, getting through the finish line kind of thing. And then now in recovery, seeing you, Tracy, and you giving me sessions and being like, you have all the signs of somebody, postpartum. And I was like, oh, so yeah, but for you, it was quite, it has been quite alive, and that this is a birthing process that's happening through you with the Chesapeake Temple.
Yeah. And it was, it came in with this really strong intensity at first, and it felt like this thing that was happening through me, but also to me, where there was like the intensity of the energy was just beyond my control. I remember one of the Mercury meditations, I like couldn't sit because I was having this energy that just pour through, and I was on my hands and knees and screaming and bearing down, like I was in a huge contraction. And this awareness of like, this is the way that my body is getting worked with this being here in this temple, but also opening to the dark. And the transition and the deep learning has been how to work with it, how to move it through, like Janine, what you were talking about, like these, like how to vibrate in these portals. And now it feels like this, it feels like this incredible access to this intelligence and the way that it streams through, particularly a female body, and that knowing of like, this is why I have this body in this life. And it's also been a sense of sacrifice too, because the intensity and like what the body goes through, there's been a lot of moments of like, I'm not prepared for this, or I don't want to give myself to this. It's too intense. It's too painful. The recovery is too much, whatever stories. And then having any sense of like personal desire just dissolve, like giving it back over. And that saying yes to my body being used in this way, and offering myself to temples and to humans and projects, and this deep calling of my matter, like Janine, like what you were speaking about of going to Nikkilä, like there's a way in which it feels like that vibration, like my matter has a magnetism of going where it needs to go, because there's been this acceleration process of activating a temple, living in a temple for this past year, and saying yes to allowing all of me to be used in this way. And the heartbreak in that, and like the heart, opening to that more and more. And it feels like there's, it's the infinite nourishment too, because when it's like that opening, when you can open and you feel yourself held in that cosmic womb, you're also held in the infinite nourishment that we have access to when we can open to that.
Absolutely. It's amazing that your body was able to, you really connected to what was going on with your body, Tracy, and so bringing more awareness to that the infinite sustenance is there. And also I'm just even thinking practically too, like with the body, birth's active, so like it's like, and part of the active is like, moving the hips and breathing and keeping the womb filled with oxygen and those kind of things. So I could see bringing more presence to that would also support the energy moving through, when sort of moving through those portals, just actually consciously like working with the hips and the pelvic bowl and with consciousness, and bringing more attention to that process.
And I want to pick up on what both of you have said about, like Janine, you said that you feel called to come to Nikkilä, and it's pretty clear, a womb journey that on the land here. And for me, it was very, very clear. It was a year ago. It was just I don't even know if we had like actually come here to the land, but no, we had probably, so it was not a full year ago. And I was just clear that the in its infancy, the seedings of energies that will support then this temple, to come into its fullness. Was very clear that womb journey with you was and having you on the land, and having this exchange, and having also what you can open or see, or supporting us to connect to the land more deeply. And and it was interesting that I felt the calling to as soon as I knew I was going to visit the US, I was like, okay, I'm coming over. Let's figure out the time. And it's like, yeah, we can hang out and all of that. But like, no, actually, I'm, we're going to work. Yeah, we'll have some nice dinners, but like, I'm there with purpose. I'm not there like, just like I'm here on vacation. I'm there with purpose. I'm not going to lead anything, but there's my matter needs to come and activate, and whatever comes through this matter needs to come and support this place. And then while I was there, Tracy, I know you remember, I was like, I got clarity. It was the days leading up to the new moon, Sagittarius, a really powerful time. I was like, okay, I actually need to lend myself to, because I thought, I'm going to be kind of, yeah, I've given birth now, it's infant, I'm breastfeeding. And it's like, I'm that one who isn't very mobile or can't go to many places, or, doesn't have the energy really to go and share elsewhere for some years. That was kind of my conclusion. And then it just became clear, no. Like this, yeah, I'm not going to hold point at another temple the way I'm holding here physically, like full time and also all that. But yeah, actually I need to go physically and support, for this to happen in other places, and whatever that means, however that happens, I don't know, but at least the intention is there, knowing that it's all part of one greater temple, and that's landing or emerging. And so then, Tracy, you're coming for TTT in September, and I know that's like an investment back into the
Fabulous.
to the US, yeah. To take back to the US for the temple or temples there will be emerging there. And just this interweaving where bodies, literal physical bodies, are going and midwiving at some stage. It's not necessarily at that moment of birthing necessarily, but in some way, supporting the one womb to birth the one temple through all these individual forms and bodies. So it's just feeling the resonance of that between us, and there'll be plenty more. Of course, there are already many others who are doing that.
Yeah, I have this like this curiosity of this experimenting with this energy too, like this idea of birthing circles of beings, particularly women, coming together to create this vortex, to use the sacral power to and it requires so much coherence. It's not something that I feel like it can be forced to happen, just like birth can't be forced. I mean, we can, with medical, like we can do a lot now, but like natural birth has its own divine timing. But yeah, this like circling of this energy, and this like this awareness of what's possible when we offer up our bodies in this way, and for like those of us who are called to do that, like the literal physical labor of coming together in communion with the earth in a place. And yeah, like I'm curious about it. Like we're going to be in Greece in May. Like I have a curiosity about this convergence and the coherence of what's possible, of like actually like multiple bodies forming one body, and this opening of like the physical laboring and the birthing and the communion with the earth of bringing something into form as part of the seeding process, and the this calling in, the landing of temples.
Yeah, one of the things that, as you were speaking, it brought me back to you, Janine, of this like spiraling. There's one womb, and we all have our individual, but there's one womb and one temple. And you were saying, Janine, about moving the hips and it's like, well, as we move across the globe, or like there's just this one spiraling move, whether that's happening energetically or you're actually flying and landing and going in matter, still there's this energy that's moving this one spiral, because the spiral, the rhythm of everything, of all matter. So yeah, just feeling the potency of that and the magic of that and the beauty of that. Yeah, and also the challenges that come with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah,
like
I'm
this.
kind of curious.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, it feels like this piece around like preparing the field too, like the way that we nest for a baby to be born, but it's like preparing the field and calling in like all of these. It feels like this year has been a lot of percolation of these different projects and people actually going into the embodied wisdom and living on the land in a place, and there's more coming. And yeah, part like this preparing the field, the way that we can call in souls, it's and be in communion with something before it's in form. And this like the souls of these temples and the mystery schools and the bodies of beings that are going to gather for all of this. It feels like that's a big part of the like the the visioning or the deep listening. And yeah, it's and like and what happens through that, it's like when you're calling that in, like Marcus and I have had a soul circling us this whole year that we've like, it's like this being that like wants to come through. And it's and this like feeling of like the temple holding us in that process. And it's like are we saying yes to that? But it's that it's like these souls that are just like right there. And when and like when two people come together, but and it's the same, it feels the same for the temple, is like what's being birthed through souls coming into union and deep communion with one another, and particularly in a physical place with the land. And what's possible then, like how it yeah, the field just it self-organizes in such a way that more life is wanting to come through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think feeling like the preparing the soil is really important. The activation of the land, the activation of the matter, for then yeah, for then and obviously the listening of the souls, like and determining what soul is that, because it could be the souls that are coming in to birth through that temple. It could be a physical, it's all those discerning to see what it is that wants to come in, and then the creation process. And yeah, I like bringing the attunement to the one womb and the one temple that's actually birthing through these different places. It feels like a beautiful shift. And I'm actually curious about what this womb journey is going to be on at Nikkilä, because maybe this is a theme that will be appearing there. It's interesting that it was such a strong call to be there. And it was kind of interesting because I'd spoken to you about maybe is level 1 and 2 supposed to be there or whatever, and then it was really clear, no, it needs to be the womb journey. And now I'm starting to see, okay, maybe this is why, because there's actually something else that there's another part maybe that wants to expand and come through or something. Maybe, I don't know, that it feels potent what you two are sharing about, and your experiences in your body, and the awareness that you're bringing to that.
Yeah, and of course you already know my wish is that happens for the men as well at some point, but first things first, take it as steps. But I was just feeling into how we say that we're birthing temples, and as you two were speaking, I was also recognizing the reality that this temple and temples in general that I'm involved with, Haydn so far and the ones to come, and Chesapeake as well, they're birthing me as a soul in a big way. And it's been a year and like 2 weeks since we said yes to Nikkilä. Yes, meaning we signed the paper saying, we're going to pay. We didn't have the money, and the down payment was all borrowed money, and we had no liquid money at the time. Timo had to go through all kinds of things to get money, but we just said yes. And we said yes just on, that this is what needs to be done. This is the right thing. And we trust that. And in that year and 2 weeks, the level of evolution and transformation and growth that I've gone through, I don't recognize myself of a year ago. Like, who was she? Thank her, but my God. And it's a bit like what mothers say, I think also, at least that's what I've heard of, like, the me before, so and so doesn't exist anymore, kind of thing. And it's very much like that for me. It's like the me of then doesn't exist anymore. And I know that Nikkilä and other temples will continue, as Haydn has been working me for 5 years already, or I think it's been 5 years since I invested in Haydn, and then went for TTT there, and then now Nikkilä, and for the other temples I'll be involved with, how they will birth us, how they will birth the humanity that's come, in this reciprocity, sacred reciprocity of the land and the humans, and like, together, temple and then temple, it's like it's a two-way street. Like, yeah, we're birthing temples, but the temples are actually birthing us. So also, just feeling into, again, the beauty and magic of that.
Yeah, it's the motherhood journey, right? It's it's a powerful portal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what mothers say, right? I mean, they're like, the lessons that they learn, or the ways that they grow and all that, their teacher, their child is their teacher, like it's exactly, well, I don't know exactly, but there's so much similarity that I'm just starting to see. And so it's exciting, super exciting. And maybe it's not about like some technology out there. It's actually just, the wisdom of nature and matter and millennia of how birthing has been happening, and how that works.
Yeah, kind of feel like it's there, right? It's just applying it to a bigger portal, really. It's the same wisdom, but it's being applied to a bigger portal, whether it's the portal of the individual temple birthing or the portal of the temple birthing. I feel like it will be both. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that perspective, Janine. I don't know, is there anything else either one of you want to say or share about this theme before we close? I definitely want to say, like, if you find yourself saying, I can't, remember that might just be the moment. And everybody says that, I know, but in case you don't have a Janine making a comment on your social media post, remember this, that, one last push, that might be it. And you can do it ecstatically.
The signs of transition. Yeah. You're really close. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I just want to say, like, it's such a beautiful and powerful way of being and being used. And I know that, there's so much resonance for this within the field. And like I feel this, this like move for support, like this devotional purpose of where the bodies are drawn to aid and support this idea of midwifery, of really going and being in person and supporting and being with after, like that idea of the 40 days. And I imagine, there's no exact formula for that, because these are much bigger beings that are being birthed. So they might need a lot more time and care and being with. But yeah, like these just like, Taki'h, like the teams of people that are required for a being like Nikkilä to be born and to really land and to be nourished by this earth, and and the ones that are caring for it. Yeah, and it makes me think about like that, this like the death portal, like we have to die before we, it's like we have to learn to birth as well. And regardless of whether you're in a male or female body, like this, it's like the cellular memory of like our bodies know how to do this, and it's a way through.
Yeah, did I have any final words? It's really lovely to meet you on the virtual screen on a triad kind of basis, Tracy. And
yeah, good to be with you.
Yeah. and also always great to catch up with you, Taki'h, and feel you look radiant. You look really radiant. Yeah, you really do.
It's that sub-zero degree weather. It brings out the freshness. Actually, I'm surrounded by 100-year-old logs that have been in service here. This one is 100 because I'm in that house, but in another house it's 130 years, who have been in service, as matter, loving and supporting and holding. Aww. And here I'm saying I'm birthing. It's like, and they're all like, yeah, okay, you can think about it that way, And so, yeah, I mean, even through, it's like that post, I guess it's again like the mother thing. Well, she's glowing while she's breastfeeding, even though she hasn't taken a shower in 2 weeks, and she's got vomit on her or something. It's like she's still glowing even though she's exhausted, and it's a bit like that. And I wouldn't trade the shoes I'm in right now for anything. And in fact, I'm just willing, I'm opening up to more. There is the intention to go to Ireland. Tracy, you'll be involved in that, and Marcus and some others, to just vibrate with the land, not necessarily go and find a place, to say here, but vibrate and start listening. And then we're going to Greece in May, first ray prep, and there's Olivier's with a third ray land in France, and so I mean there's and the friends in Moscow, they also are vibrating now for a fifth ray advanced. And I mean, I go like this because they're to the east. They're right behind over here. But it's happened. Like it feels like last year was a time of like land of temples and people starting to like move with land and resonate with land and listen to land and kind of orient, like a shift in orientation. And now through that, more of the places that are meant for the mystery schools are starting to like simmer, like zzz, and people are hearing the call for that. And so this is incredibly exciting, and it's going to take lots of humans, lots of portals. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation, that like there's a bunch of people who are going to find themselves in this position soon, and they have no idea, just like I didn't, just like you didn't, Tracy, like
the birthing position. Yeah.
Squat
bear down.
Yeah, some planned pregnancies and some unplanned.
True. What a great way of putting it. Yeah, some planned and some, yes, gifts of God. Gifts of the goddess. Here we go. Mine was unplanned. Oh, thank you. It feels so good also just to be in this energy and just, I mean, it's such an honor because it's, these are the baby steps of what a civilization will look like. Like it'll just be like, toast and butter in the morning kind of thing for them. But for us, it's, how do we do this? And so it's such an honor to be in that with you. Some who have walked, years already on that path and can give guidance down. So super grateful for that. And others who can see what is very blatantly written, but one cannot see it themselves. So it takes many of us to come together for this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both.
Welcome. Bye.